And Mysterion can... Wait, what's your superpower, Mysterion? I can't die.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our favorite Kenny deaths from countless episodes, films, and short clips.
Hey, Kenny! Oh no.
Number 30, by terminal illness.
Children, Kenny has been diagnosed with a terminal disease.
But the doctors are gonna make him better, right?
Oh dear.
This one is unique for one big reason. After 5 seasons of killing him every episode, the writers felt this gag had run its course. To send him off, Kenny is diagnosed with a terminal illness. Unlike the other deaths, all his friends are very aware of his condition and are going through the many stages of grief. In contrast to everything surrounding Kenny's death in previous episodes, this one weighs on our hearts and even allows the kids to acknowledge the loss of their friend.
Did he say anything before he went? He just said, "Where's Stan?"
It was the only time Kenny actually died, for real. No resurrections. Well, at least not for another season, but that was still a pretty long time to be Kennyless. Number 29, by Frosty. This one is also unique, but for a much different reason. In the original Spirit of Christmas video, made back in 1992, Kenny dies at the hands of Frosty the Snowman. There's only one little problem. Kenny isn't Kenny. He's Cartman. The Kenny we know is in the video short, but is not given a name. Cartman's name would come 2 years later in the Jesus vs. Santa version of the film. We love this entry for the sheer fact that fans now would not expect to see Cartman killed off as Kenny. Number 28, by Jay Leno's Chin. Over the years, South Park has done little short bits outside of the main show itself.
I'm going home!
From award shows to the Aristocrats documentary, those crazy characters can be found everywhere. As part of Trey Parker and Matt Stone's appearance on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, fans were treated to a 3-minute clip of Leno visiting the kids in school. With his chin clearly depicted in an exaggerated fashion, Leno turns his head and knocks over a flagpole, which sends a presidential bust in the air, landing on Kenny. Given the specificity of the clip, we love how they still found a way to take Kenny out.
I had no idea Jay Leno's chin had such magical powers.
Number 27, by Warcraft. Not only was this one of the greatest episodes of the show ever, it gave us 2 different Kenny deaths, all while keeping the real one alive. Much of the episode takes place within the game space of World of Warcraft. It's here we meet a griefer who has managed to bypass the game's rules and is killing everyone. Kenny takes a quick jab to the chest when the boys first meet him.
Oh my god! He killed Kenny! You bastard!
Later on, when a swarm of scorpions is spawned, Kenny bites it from one of their many deathly claws. Although the deaths themselves could be easily missed, the fact that they were included in the virtual scenes makes them memorable. Number 26, by Moving Sidewalk. Are you one of those people who worries that the end of an escalator or moving sidewalk will somehow suck you in? Sure, it's extremely unlikely, but this is South Park. After Stan and Kyle unearth a frozen man, he goes on display at a museum featuring a moving sidewalk/beltway. After the boys try talking about getting him released, Kenny remains on the moving belt and inadvertently gets sucked under. The idea of being crushed to death by such a mechanism is terrifying, which is why we get the shivers every time we see this one in action. Number 25, by Firework. Even as far back as the 2nd season, there was an in-episode acknowledgement of Kenny's death not being permanent. When the kids learn that fireworks have been banned in the state of Colorado, we're treated to a cute flashback scene. With a little firework in his hand, it blows up, severing Kenny's head from his body. Is it wrong that we say we love this one because it's so cute? Regardless, at least we're treated to a second death later when older Kenny is crushed by a set of collapsing bleachers. That's all well and good, but his younger death is still far more entertaining. Number 24, Death by Elevator. It's boy band time in South Park, and all four of our favorite characters have come together to make up a new group. After finally agreeing to allow Wendy to join, Cartman insists on trying to get them a gig at the local mall. During his speech before their appearance, Kenny and the others can be seen standing in the back waiting to perform. And just as they get the cue from Cartman, the mall elevator crushes Kenny to death.
And so, without further ado,
Not only is it creative, it's entertaining to see the boys perform anyway, seemingly unfazed by Kenny's demise. Number 23, by Tetherball. Although rarely seen today, Tetherball was a staple of countless playgrounds across the globe. Consisting of a ball tied to a rope attached to a pole, players would hit the ball back and forth, attempting to wind it all the way to the top. In the elementary school playground, the boys can be seen playing this on several occasions. Many of these games were removed from schools due to possible injury to the head and hands. Kenny gives the ball a swift swing and finds himself caught up in the rope and suffocates.
oh
His demise is funny, but is made better by the fact that it is clearly a pot shot at overcautious parents taking away games many people loved as children. Number 22, by Mysterion. One major revelation we got during the Coon and Friends trilogy of episodes was that Mysterion is actually Kenny. Furthermore, we learn that he does in fact have a real superpower. He can't die. As his Mysterion alter ego, Kenny gets into a heated argument with his friends about how terrible it is to never be able to die, and the fact that no one ever seems to remember his demise.
What's the big deal? I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool not to be able to die.
Pretty cool? Do you know what it feels like to be stabbed? To be shot? Decapitated? Torn apart? Burned? Run over?
Kenny, calm down.
It's not pretty cool, Kyle.
To prove this, he shoots himself right there in the basement. The death is significant because it's truly the first time we get a real explanation for why Kenny kept coming back. We didn't really need one, but are glad we got some answers. Number 21, by Turkeys. In the early years of South Park, having Kenny die in every episode was simply part of the show's mythos.
Come on, Kenny!
Come on, son.
With the creators having long abandoned that running gag years ago, it's interesting to go back and see the creative ways they took Kenny from us. In a mid-season 1 episode, the town is being overrun by mutated turkeys created by Dr. Mephisto.
And the worst part is, they're really pissed off.
In a send-up of the movie Braveheart, we get the famous William Wallace speech from both Chef and the turkeys themselves. But poor Kenny never stood a chance. Before he can fight himself, he's mauled by a group of raging turkeys. Worst Thanksgiving ever. Number 20, by Baked Potato. Here we have Kenny trying to prove that flatulence is indeed flammable. Arguing with Cartman about the veracity of a scene in the new Terrence and Phillip movie, Kenny tries to make a point with a match in hand. After bursting into flames, viewers just assumed he would die right then and there. But thanks to Dr. Gosh, played by George Clooney, Kenny is briefly brought back to life, only to learn his heart has been replaced by a baked potato. It's outlandish, hilarious, and a great springboard for Kenny's big role and the rest of the movie's plots.
Son, I have some bad news. We accidentally replaced your heart with a baked potato. You have about 3 seconds to live.
Number 19, by PSP/Ice Cream Truck. Given how much Cartman loves to torture Kenny about being poor, we love how the Season 9 episode Best Friends Forever gave Kenny a break. Our favorite orange hoodie-wearing South Park resident is first in line to acquire the new PlayStation portable gaming console.
Dude, you see what Kenny got?
Yes, I know. Up yours, Kyle.
Although he beats Cartman to the punch, it comes with a bit of a heavy price. After finally making it to level 60 on his game, Kenny is crushed by an ice cream truck. The twist, however, is it's only the beginning of his adventure. His PSP skills are put to work in the afterlife as he battles to save all humankind.
Yes, good, Kenny. The angel spearmen are taking out their demon soul rippers. Oh, the cavalry angels are clashing with their black knights.
It's a great death followed by a great afterlife. Number 18, by Brown Notes. The brown note is a theory that a particular sound can trigger the involuntary loss of bowel control within an individual. It's been around for ages, but has widely been debunked. In a late Season 3 episode, Cartman claims he has found the infamous note, and the boys hatch a plan to unleash it at a worldwide recorder concert they are participating in.
No way.
I don't believe it. I'm seriously, you guys. Come on, watch. Okay.
Whoa, oh my god!
Their prank works, and the world is left in an awful mess. Kenny, however, apparently didn't have the constitution to survive such a blast. We last see him in a field having died from the incident.
Alan, I'm standing at ground zero. Here, the damage is greater than anywhere. Like the rest of the world, everyone here has crapped their pants. Some crap themselves to death.
It's hilarious despite the fact that death occurs off screen. Number 17, by Giant Bird. It's not too often that Kenny's death is foreshadowed by the story.
You will follow the agnostic code. We cannot know with certainty if God or Christ exists. They could. Then again, there could be a giant reptilian bird in charge of everything. Can we be certain there isn't? No, so it's pointless to talk about.
In the last episode of Season 15, Kenny and his siblings are taken away from their parents and put in the foster system. Their new caretakers posit the possibility that God is a giant bird, which of course sets the stage for Kenny's death. Shortly after returning to school, a massive avian creature smashes through the roof and eats Kenny. We love the idea that something so random was introduced early in the episode just to give us a great payoff at the end.
My mama's so poor she walks down the road with one shoe. And if you ask her if she lost a shoe, she says, no, I found one.
Number 16, by Microwave. Until the recent COVID episodes, Dr. Mephisto had been largely absent from most of the show's later episodes. He made his first appearance in Season 1 when Kyle wanted to crossbreed his elephant with a pig. When that can't happen, Mephisto steals Stan's blood and makes a not-so-perfect clone that becomes Kenny's downfall. As Stan's mutant clone rampages through the house, Kenny is accidentally thrown into a microwave, which, of course, turns on and nukes the poor kid. It's a far less gruesome death than some of the others on this list, but still highly entertaining.
Oh my god! They killed Kenny! You bastard!
Number 15, by Laughter. You've heard of the saying, dying of laughter? This was an instance where that came true for Kenny McCormick. After being picked on by Scott Tenorman, Cartman goes to extreme lengths to get back at him. During the ping-ponging back and forth, Scott gets a good one on Eric when he shows the town a video of Cartman making literal pig noises. It's here we lose Kenny in a fit of uncontrollable laughter.
Oh my god, I killed Kenny!
To actually off a character using an old adage like this is incredibly clever and well played out. Plus, at least he got to see Cartman embarrass himself. Number 14, by Sniper Rifle / Flagpole. An oversized Cartman breaks the stage, sending a glass-covered Kathy Lee Gifford into orbit. Garrison's assassination attempt goes awry, hitting Kenny instead. The gunshot alone doesn't make this all that memorable, but having Kenny blasted into the air and fall down a flagpole, that's worthy of an entry on our list. The reaction we get from Kyle here would become integral to the beloved running gag.
Here it is, my big moment of fame.
Number 13, by Bebe. This one too involves Kenny dying from a gunshot. It too was accidental, but in all the best ways. Bebe pulls a gun on Wendy in an attempt to keep the details about a special girls' list a secret.
Give me that list, Wendy. Stan, what is going on?
It was about shoes, Kyle. The girls wanted shoes, so they set you up.
Much like countless movies, the two end up in a fight and the gun goes off and we're left wondering who's about to buy it. Unlike what we usually see, neither of them is harmed and both are completely confused. That is, until it cuts to Kenny taking a shot through the head while eating his cereal. The sheer randomness of this one is what makes it so memorable. Can't the guy get a break and enjoy his breakfast for dinner?
Wait, I didn't do anything wrong.
Number 12, by Death. Stan's grandpa is celebrating his 102nd birthday and all he wants is to rest in peace.
How's it feel to be 102, Paps?
Shoot me!
The running joke is that Grandpa wants to die and is trying anything and everything to accomplish that. So when death itself shows up, audiences think Old Man Marsh will finally get his wish. Not so quick. Upset that Terrence and Philip are off the air, death touches Kenny, and it's all over. We thoroughly enjoyed how the episode addresses the topic of death and teases the audience the whole time. You think it's coming for Grandpa, when Kenny was his target all along.
Hey, you were supposed to kill me!
Number 11, by UFO. The pilot episode of South Park spent a lot more time on Kenny's death than many of the subsequent outings.
Give me back my brother!
A UFO shoots him, then he's attacked by cows and finally run over by a cop car. Even then, the boys have to tear his body apart to prove to Cartman it's not all some joke. This death is noteworthy simply because it was the first. Well, unless you count the Spirit of Christmas shorts. Either way, it was a first for mass audiences and still a memorable death.
Man, I had this crazy nightmare last night.
Number 10, by Monkey. If you grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, you undoubtedly saw the commercials for Hooked on Phonics. It was a unique way to teach reading skills. Cartman's mom gets him hooked on monkey phonics to help him learn how to spell. This set comes with a live monkey that plays the drums to help you.
The learning monkey is here to say that reading is easy and it's okay.
Cartman's spelling may not have gotten any better, but the monkey certainly did teach Kenny a lesson. He attacks the kid, throwing him repeatedly around Cartman's room until eventually he's left a bloody mess.
No phonics monkey! No phonics monkey, that's a bad phonics monkey!
It's not often we get to see Kenny take a beating from an animal, but this one is certainly hilarious. Number 9, by Syphilis. Kenny finally gets himself a girlfriend.
Her name's Tammy Warner. She's the only girl in school whose family is actually poorer than Kenny's. It's really kind of beautiful, if you ask me.
So when he finds out that she has a reputation with another boy in the school, he's ironically overjoyed by the prospect of what being with Tammy means. The episode volleys back and forth around the subject of young people being sexually active. It's here where we find our friend Kenny losing his life. Unlike many of the other entries on this list, we don't actually see him die. Instead, we're given his funeral where the perils of STIs are made very clear.
Let us all be reminded that syphilis is still a deadly disease, and it can be caught even if using protection.
It's a death that is far more subtle on screen, but riddled with plenty of subtext. Number 8, by Space Station. Unlike most episodes, this one gave us a Kenny death within the first few minutes. For South Park's first Halloween episode, the boys are at the bus stop as per usual. Unbeknownst to them, the space station mirror has malfunctioned and is crashing towards the Earth.
What the hell is that thing? It looks like a UFO!
And yes, it of course lands on Kenny, killing him. But it's not just that death that makes this memorable. He becomes the first of many zombies within the town after being embalmed with Worcestershire sauce. It's not until Kyle saws him in half that the terror ends.
You bastard!
It's a rarity to get 2 great deaths in one episode. Number 7, by Giant Fan. It's not the island of misfit toys.
Who lives in the east neath the willow tree? Sexual harassment, panda.
No, it's the island of misfit mascots commune. A commune indeed, as we find it filled with countless rejected costumed individuals. And it's there we meet Jimmy, the don't hold on to a large magnet while someone else uses a fan nearby Falcon. Cue the Giant Fan and Kenny holding on to a magnet, and we're pretty sure you can figure out what happened next. We love the nod to the classic Rudolph story while finding obscure ways to kill off Kenny. Who even has a fan that size? Number 6, by Antacid Tablets. Ever drop an antacid tablet in the water? It produces quite a bit of fizz, although not to the extremes of Diet Coke and Mentos. In a dialogue room at Kyle's dad's office, Kenny mistakes a bowl of antacid pills for candy mints. After having consumed all 60 of them, he needs a drink.
Yeah, you can have a drink of water. The dispenser's over there. Yeah, you must be thirsty after eating 60 mints.
1 glass of water later, and we're treated to an explosion of Tom's proportions. It's the innocence of this one that we love. Kenny is just hungry and wants a sweet little treat. Thankfully, as always, he returns to his old self 1 episode later. Number 5, by Asphyxiation. The start of season 14 saw the show take aim at infidelity scandals among celebrities.
As you've all seen on the news, our country is facing a major crisis.
This included Tiger Woods, who was going through a very public rough patch in his marriage at the time. Compulsive sexual behavior is blamed as the cause of all the problems. A ridiculous test sees several of the boys, including Kenny, as being afflicted. It's clearly a misdiagnosis, but that doesn't stop Kenny from ultimately succumbing to what the doctor says is the final result of the disease. We can't help but laugh at the end result, but also cringe thinking of how our hero Mysterion would be found.
Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me.
Number 4, by Tampon. In season 3, Cartman catches a stomach virus that causes bleeding in the colon.
Yesterday, I got my period. You got your what?
He mistakenly thinks he's menstruating and has now hit puberty.
Well, guys, I'm afraid I won't be able to hang out with you on New Year's Eve. I have to hang out with the older crowd because now I'm mature.
Kenny soon catches it as well and joins Cartman in buying supplies to help with their newfound entrance into adulthood. Given the choices people who menstruate usually have, Cartman uses a liner, while Kenny chooses something else. Here's where Kenny's naivety gives us comedic gold. The audience knows he's most definitely made a mistake, and at some point, it's going to pay out.
Okay, is everyone accounted for? Goddess Wind? Here. Goddess Moon? Goddess Moon!
In Eric's clubhouse, the worst happens and Kenny's stomach discomfort becomes fatal. It's nowhere near as explicit as some of the other deaths, but that doesn't make it any less funny. Number 3, by spontaneous combustion. Picture it. You're out for a nice walk with your friends. A quick little banter back and forth, and poof! Your friend blips into a pile of ambers like they were never there.
Good night, Jerry. See you, Tom. Bye, Helen.
Bye, Jerry!
No, it's not a magic trick, and they haven't been snapped by Thanos. It's spontaneous combustion. Kenny ends up being the first of many in the town to instantly burst into nothing but ash with no warning.
Oh, where you gonna go, Kenny? You gonna see your little girlfriend again? Dude, you spend way too much time with that girl.
Not only is it the fastest way Kenny ever goes, but the cause of it is similar to what killed him in the movie. Turns out there really are no diminished returns on fart jokes. Number 2, by Chinpokomon. Right in the middle of the Pokemon craze, South Park decided to do their own version of it with Chinpokomon.
Someday I will collect all the Chinpokomon, then I will fight the evil power that will reveal itself once all the Chinpokomon are collected. Aww.
Much like little kids in the real world, everyone in town is obsessed with all things related to the Japanese characters. While playing the new video game, Kenny becomes so entranced that he falls into a seizure and remains that way for much of the episode. The long blank gaze he keeps giving everyone is both funny and creepy. But eventually it's too much and he merely explodes with rats eating him from the inside out. It's a long play to a burst of death, but certainly noticeable.
Dude, this game rules!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, by Ozzy Osbourne. Even if you're not a fan, you've undoubtedly heard at least a peripheral version of the Ozzy and the Bat story. Someone threw a real bat on stage. Ozzy thought it was fake and bit the head off.
I remember when I was just starting out, Chef suggested I buy a pompadour hat. I thought he said, bite the head off a bat. So I did.
It's one of the most legendary tales in rock music history. So when Chef needs help from all his former music pals, Ozzy, of course, plays Chef Aid, and we get a South Park version of that tale. The animated version grabs Kenny from the crowd and bites his head clean off. It's a fantastic nod to the original story, especially since Ozzy himself made a guest appearance on the show and the album of the same name.
We're all here to help our good friend Chef, who has touched our lives in the past.
Kenny has bought the farm so many times, we can't cover them all. Did we miss one of your favorites? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. I'm tired, guys. Think I'm gonna go to bed.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.